All right, guys. All right. Welcome back to Tomboy Official. Good morning. Let me clip this mic on my shirt because I don't even know. All right. It's C4 o'clock, guys. Actually, I passed C4 o'clock. Actually, I thought C4 o'clock was going to be at 5 o'clock this morning. That did not happen. You know why that didn't happen? Because I was tired and I did not want to wake up at 5 in the morning, and I was already up at 4, and then around 5 something I fell asleep until like 7. I turned my heater on the whole time from like 4 a.m. to like 7. I just turned it off a while ago, so the house is kind of warm, but it's gonna cool off and then it's gonna heat up because it's gonna be kind of hot today. High 70s, maybe 80s. I need to drink the C4 and get rolling. Trying to work out before breakfast. I'm kind of notice my shoulders are a little tense. I haven't had a good workout in a while. I think I could do 30 minutes, but before breakfast, it's not usually easy to work out without any food in my system, but I also don't like workouts where I'm jumping all over the place when there's other people awake in the house. And, you know, my mom's not going to be up anytime soon. She's not going to be up even probably by like 9. Maybe she'll be up around 9 at the earliest. Uh, so I'm going to start exercising around 10 minutes after 8 or so. 10-15 minutes after 8. And at least work out till like 8:45 or so. Just calisthenics and nothing exciting. Jumping jacks, mountain climbers, mummy kicks, kind of like jumping squats, um, kind of a modified version of, if you remember that workout Insanity with Sean, what's his name, Sean? The one who was, I think his name was Sean. Like, yeah, he had those Insanity workouts. And I remember way back, I used to only do just the warm up. I would do the Insanity warm up and something else. I can't remember what else I did, but I just did the warm up for Insanity. And I think it was for the cardio one. And this is the first, I think it's the first Insanity. The one where they were all like half dying on this like big like basketball court looking place. It was like it had like wooden floors and stuff, and people were like completely out of breath. And I was just like, wow, like, because usually it's interesting when you watch those kind of workout videos, all the like exercising people in the back are like smiling and like stepping around and stuff. And this one is like, man, you even see like the cast or whatever you want to call them, you see them taking breaks too. So that was one of my favorite workout routines. I also used to like tap out. It was pretty cool. Movement wise, like you get a lot of, I kind of like martial arts kind of like movements. Um, I'm not fighting anybody, but it just kind of feels a little like you can kind of feel yourself getting better at it and more coordinated, and it like feels like you're learning martial arts, even if it's like Insanity Kenpo X or like tap out and stuff like that. Like it's kind of like you're not really learning it, but it's like you're learning kind of like the motions and like a little bit about the form and stuff. And um like I know like for me, I'm not the most coordinated person, mm, so it can feel a little hard to be like coordinated and like get the movements down, the motions down. But usually once I get them all down, I'm like, okay, I got this. Like I can do this now. And I get all the movements down, and then I'm like good to go. I'm like cool. Like I got all the movements down. Um, but I just want to say I am not the best at taking care of myself. Um, like if I didn't have people in my life that were, you know, like family members, like my brother and sister who are kind of like active, like my brother walks all over the place. My sister, she's a runner and she's also, she exercises. She's always been kind of fit. I've never seen her get out of shape even once. My brother too, they've always been like in good shape. They never kind of let things go once they got to college and stuff. Like I was the one who kind of like backed out of sports and like stopped being regularly active, or even when I am regularly active, it's not, it could be better. It could be better. Um, I can eat relatively well, but mm. All right, guys, give me a second. Let me just finish this stupid beverage so I can talk because trying to drink this and talk, like it takes 20-30 minutes to kick in. If I don't finish drinking it, it's not going to kick in all at once. So, um, hmm. So I might start doing what I want to call Mental Health Monday. I don't really know if I'm going to do that, but it just sounds like a good idea at the moment. Couldn't hurt. Um, you know, I've talked about it before. Like I noticed for myself a lot of places where my mental health slips, where I'm kind of like feeling negative and can't sleep good and all the other problems that come along with things, is usually just a lack of exercise for me. Um, like I've even been feeling it like the past couple days. I'm like kind of tense and I notice it. Like if I let it go on like that for too long, then I notice like my mind starts to get like negative just automatically. It'll just be in like this negative headspace. Like everything's annoying, everything is irritating me. Like it's easy to focus on what's not going right. And it's kind of weird that I didn't notice that it was like exercise that could help me get out of that. Because I was like, okay, like I need to practice all this like positivity stuff, and like yeah, like I mean that helps too. But there was a while where I was kind of like having some, you know, I don't know if I'd call it some trouble, but a little bit of like it was a little bit of trouble, kind of like getting my head like in a positive space, especially like at nighttime or in the morning. It was like right before I would go to sleep or right when I would wake up. And as we all know, I usually wake up too dang early. So I'd be up hours before work, just being like in my head, like super negative, just like everything sucks. Like everything just felt so negative. Like I was just like, man, like like it was hard to like find like, and I, you know, I'm not really the most negative person. I really am not. Like, I think I'm like strangely a little too optimistic, and especially like in my social life, I feel like, when it comes to people, that I know or whatever, I'm quick to forgive. I'll give people chances, where a lot of people wouldn't, which is also, I can take that a little too far in the other direction too, to a point where it can be a problem. But it's like, I accept that people have faults, that people are going to mess up, that, you know, I'm not always going to be at an energy level where I can handle someone else's energy not really being good energy. And so if someone else is having a crappy day while I'm having a crappy day, like I kind of understand that these things happen. I usually am not going to hold these kind of things against people. And so if I have a negative experience with somebody socially, I'm usually not going to write a person off. Like, whereas I feel like most people or many people can't really tolerate that. And I'm not saying people have to tolerate it. Like, people have a full right to be like, if this person's getting in my way, then move over next, like I don't think people should have to put up with things, but also, people ask me why I know so many people sometimes, and I think that's one reason why, I don't like give up on people, or get so fed up with people about stuff, and I try to see like what can I work with, what can't I work with, um like um say for example, if I'm hanging out with someone that lives far away and I try to meet up with them. This isn't recent, but let's say a long time ago I knew someone who lived far away. I loved meeting up with them, but they would always be running like 30-40 minutes late or something, and so and then the one time I was late, well, I wasn't really late, but I didn't really know where to meet them, and we were meeting at someplace, and I thought I saw them walk out of their car, but I wasn't too sure, and I didn't know the place, and so I was trying to call them to be like, where do you want to meet? And they weren't really answering, and then they called me kind of like upset, like, hey, I've been here like waiting, but I didn't know the area. Like, we were supposed to meet like at some like shopping plaza, and I was like, well, where in the plaza? Like, I'm sitting in my car, but it's like there's all these buildings everywhere. Like, where are we gonna meet, so it took me a while to like meet them at the place where they mentioned, like, once they realized I was there, and they were kind of like, they just had like a little bit of an attitude on the phone about it, but it's things like that where it's like I feel like a lot of people would be like, oh, this person was like rude to me or whatever, but it's like they're never rude. That was the one instance that I ever recall this person having any kind of attitude, and it's probably because they were running late and they were stressed. Because I remember we were gonna meet, and they had to do, I think their parents made them have to do like a bunch of like yard work or something that was gonna make them run late, and so I was like, well, that's understandable. And so I think they were kind of stressed out about everything, and I think we were gonna go see a movie or something too. So it was kind of like there was a little bit of time sensitivity, but it's kind of like I didn't really. It wasn't a big deal, It wasn't a big deal. Like I wasn't like I remember it, but it's not like something that I was like, this is a problem. Like it wasn't a pattern. It was like a one-time thing, and I could just kind of tell like they were just kind of like overwhelmed and stressed out. Like they weren't like mad at me, and even if they were, someone can be mad at me because I'm late for something. Like they have every right to be mad, you know. Just because someone's mad at me doesn't mean that I'm gonna like write them off. Now, if somebody's always mad at me, uh, that I think is an issue, especially if I'm not doing anything that warrants them being mad. But I understand that people are gonna have emotions that are not emotions that I might want them to have. Like, why would anyone want someone mad at them? It's like I don't want people mad at me, but if I do something that makes someone mad, it's like also that's not my fault. If I'm not intentionally trying to make them mad, it's them that's making them mad. So it's kind of like, they're making themselves mad because they're choosing to look at something in some light, in some different way. Like I'm not like intentionally like, oh, like let me think this out. Like I know this person's having a stressful day, so let me make it hard to like get in touch and like show up late, and like we were already late. We were both late, so it's like whatever. And they were always late, so it was kind of like I didn't really care that much. I was kind of like whatever, like, and like I mentioned, like I live so far. It's like, for me to be late like once, when I was always driving up to them, it's like I was almost always driving up to them. Only a few times did they ever come and drive like near me. And so things like that. Or like things like, I have some friends in LA that like almost never come to my area of LA. Like I always go to them. And it's like, okay, like Like gas ain't cheap, guys, like, but I kind of noticed that. And it's like, it's not that I don't want to see them, but I'm like, well, if you're going to wait for me to come to you, you're going to be waiting a while these days. But it's stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to hold it against people. It's stuff that's like, yeah, maybe I would prefer it to be different, but I mean, like, if they want to wait for like a year and we can hang out once or twice a year, if that's what you want to do, then cool. Like, but I'm over here. If you want to drive over here and drive 90 minutes to come meet me, I'll be here. But if you're gonna wait for me to go drive 90 minutes, like I might not do it that often. So, you know, it's kind of hard to really. There's just little things like that. But trying to work on the irritability, anger stuff. It's really just perspective sometimes. Like for myself, I don't have that many people in my life that I know that like I think strategically plan things that are going to upset me. I do know a couple people that are like that though. There are a couple people that I know that are family members that I can kind of tell that they kind of like choose the things that they say very carefully in a negative way. It's like they know how to get under my skin, and instead of just trying to like check in, like, how's your week been? How's your month been? How's your year been? How are you? Or just like, what's going on? Or, just like a normal conversation that anybody would start, they always try to start something. And it's like, people who know me well, you know that I am not usually trying to argue with people. Like you will rarely see me trying to argue with people. Like I respect that people have differences of opinions. Sometimes I think their opinions are weird. Sometimes I'm like, oh, they're wrong. Like according to my own beliefs or my own way of seeing the world, they are wrong. In my head they're wrong. Um, but I do feel like there's plenty of space for people to be far apart on things. We don't have to agree. Like we're all looking through the world in our own lens, so I don't really think we have to see things the same. Like it almost makes no sense that I would expect someone from a different generation, from a different gender, from a different sexuality, from a different ethnicity and race, and a different environment, a different household setup, a different set of traumatic experiences. Yeah, of course, yeah, you think we're going to all be on the same page about everything? We're going to all want the same government, politicians, we're going to all want the same laws, we're going to all want the same benefits, we're going to all want the same stuff. It's like, no, everybody wants things that help them. They don't really care all the time about what's going to help the other types of people that exist, especially if it's, gonna hurt them in some way or take away from what they think they need. People aren't gonna always see things on the same page, religion wise or anything. It's like, well, that doesn't suit me. I don't want to pray that many times a day. I don't want to think about, that, somebody's trying to scare me into believing and worshiping something just because I'll burn an eternal hellfire. Or I don't want to be around people who are prejudiced and call it love or whatever. I don't want to be around that. But other people don't see it like that. They're like, they really think they're doing the work of their deity, and they think that this is what I need to follow because this is making me a good person. So it's kind of like, if I don't really see that that's making them a good person, and then they think that they're becoming a good person, it's kind of like, what, like we're kind of having two completely different conversations. So I can see stuff like that and not really get too upset with it and just be like, I kind of see what's going on. People can have their differences. I can have my differences. We can all make it work. We're not always going to get along on everything, but as long as it's respectful and you feel like people actually like care and they're actually making an effort, and everyone kind of has this understanding that they're not getting in anybody's way, I don't really see it as an issue. I don't really see it as an issue, not a big one anyways. Um but that's kind of just how I see things. Um but then I can be like in this negative headspace where like everybody sucks and everything sucks and like nobody has it right, and everybody, like, that must have been intentional like, or this person just isn't like, doesn't really care because of like, look at how they're treating this or whatever. And it's like, I gotta snap out of that quick. Like, I gotta, when I notice I'm doing that, I'm like, dude, like, it's not a fun headspace to be in. And I'm like, this is just, it's not helping my day. It's, like, I'm not even telling people this. I'm not like outwardly like showing people that I'm like irritated or whatever. Usually, I'm just kind of like keeping to myself and keeping things like that on my mind. And I'm like, that's pointless, that's just so pointless. But I really do think, there are a lot of people, um, a lot of LGBT content creators, and I've seen a lot of guys online because I've mentioned, I'm part of this like social media management group where there's all these guys because they all came out of this not all of them, but the main guy who runs it came out of what's his face? What's this guy's name? Who got everybody all pissed off? Uh, Tate, Andrew Tate. So he was reviewing this guy's classes and stuff, and so he has this whole like they're not. It's not like some toxic masculinity thing, but they kind of encourage each other to like work out and like, I mean, this is for people who are like trying to like start like a like side gig or something like online, and people kind of like showing how they did it and stuff. Like, it works. It's not like some weird thing. It's all free. And it's just this Discord community. And I go onto the workouts and it shows these dudes. Like, I don't really know their intentions. I don't know these people, but I think it's pretty cool that they kind of show themselves like, I worked out today, or like, here's my progress from like what I'm developing. And like, um um you know yeah, like, here's my progress from what I'm developing. And um like uh like they're kind of able to, like, they're not like showing off, but I don't take it that way that they're like boasting or anything. It's just like to motivate others. They're like, it's kind of like an accountability thing. And so I like that it's like accountability, where people can go on there and like look at other people like, hey, look, I followed through with all my goals of like trying to contact however many customers, and I got this many, customers this week, and I'm making this much money off of it, and like all that kind of stuff. Or like, just people showing their progress. Like, I think we need more communities online where people show their progress and like keep other people motivated, instead of all the like tearing everybody down. And like, I'm not. I don't think I'm really in a lot of online spaces where people are just tearing each other down. But I am in a lot of financial spaces online, and I do notice there's a whole lot of doom and gloom. Like, it's hard for me to want to learn about finance lately, because every time I go to one of those channels, it's like, this is what's happening to the economy, and Americans are going to run out of money in October, and oh my gosh, like, 2024 is coming and we're all doomed. Like, the economy is going to crash. I'm like, buy your crypto now, like all this stuff where you're just like, holy crap, like, what are the solutions? Like, let's talk solutions. That's why when I'm talking about the little money things that I know, I'm like, these are ways to make money. Like, let's shut up with all the other stuff. It's like, here's little ways. Like, yeah, you're not gonna get like rich off of some of this stuff. I mean, some people do, but it's like, with the methods that I talk about that are like little things, like, if you're diligent about it and you're out there hustling, like, you can make a good 1,200 extra dollars a month just by doing like, just by making like maybe about $35, a month off of, so $35 a day, 6 days a week off of doing food deliveries. And then um you know doing like two of those apartment viewings a week. you know, if they're available to do them. But just doing two of them a week, you know, $1,200, $1,200, guys. I mean, like, that's not really chump change. I mean, that's almost half a paycheck for most Americans, you know. That's almost half of a paycheck for most Americans. So you're almost making like if you're making like in the 40,000 range, you're making like almost like if you get paid like say twice a month, you're making like a third paycheck there, a third little paycheck. Um Now it doesn't take no time. It's not like you're just gonna wake up overnight and like, oh, I did deliveries in my sleep and like these apartments viewed themselves and somehow the surveys got done. It's like you're out there like doing it. It's not like a get rich quick kind of like, oh, I set up this website and all of a sudden, oh look, everybody's buying everything on it and I didn't spend a cent. Like it's not something like that. Like I don't know how to do stuff like that yet. I don't know if it really exists. I've tried a lot of those little things and I'm pretty good with my internet stuff, and I still have not figured out how to do a lot of that stuff for free. Like there's a lot of stuff that I know that if you don't pay for sponsorship, if you don't pay for promotion, if you don't pay for ads, um, advertising, and for someone to push your stuff and to get more eyes on your stuff, organic traffic can be really slow. And even if you are getting organic traffic, like I have this blog that I'm now getting a lot of organic traffic, but unfortunately the organic traffic isn't from the people on Medium that actually subscribe and pay for the subscription. Therefore I'm getting no money, because you only get money if the people who subscribe and pay the $5 a month subscription are the ones reading your stuff. So I've got a lot of traffic from a lot of people that aren't on Medium as subscribers, and so I'm not getting paid for people reading my stuff. So it's stuff like that where it's just like I know what ideas are kind of like trending and what's within my interest that I actually want to talk about. Sometimes I don't talk about those things just because I don't feel like it. You know, I'm not really there for the money. You guys know I just go missing. You know, I'm like, if I don't have anything I want to talk about, I'm just not going to talk about anything. Um, but it has helped to get out in the world a little bit more and to get out and out and about. Um, but I guess that's my little spiel for Mental Health Monday. Um, all you LGBT people, LGBTQ plus people, queer people out there, straight people too. If you're on here and you're a cis straight person, and I guess I'm not always talking about LGBT specific stuff lately, but I mean, that's the community I'm usually talking to. But if you're not and you're on here anyways, uh, cool. And that means I'm talking to you too. You know, get out there and work out. You know, if you don't feel good, freaking work out. You know, don't overdo it. Don't like punish yourself with your workout and like use it as like a self harm method or anything. But you know, get all the stress out. Because it does help. For me, I feel like C4 backfires a little bit because once it wears off, I don't feel like good. Um, like there's like a balance between like having to hydrate, having to eat. Um, I definitely noticed that with C4. You got to eat a lot and not be like food deprived. Like I don't deprive myself of eating, but like I don't like right now I haven't eaten breakfast yet, things like that. So that's mostly what I would recommend. Is just do it, guys. Just do it. Um, get your workouts in, get some exercise in. If you got to take a pre workout just to get yourself rolling a couple days a week, do that. You notice I took mine early this time instead of trying to do it later on. And I'm going to try to work out before breakfast, which is never easy. Uh, Usually I work out better after I've eaten, but also after I eat, I have to wait like another 30 minutes or 40 minutes or an hour, depending on how much I ate. So I figure I can get in some cardio this morning, get in all the jump around kind of exercising I want to do. And then later on, if I want to, I can do some more strength stuff. Just to, push ups, sit ups, bands. Like, I got this pull up bar that I play with sometimes. This exercise ball. There's all kinds of workouts I can do. I got this balance board. There's plenty of stuff I can use to exercise that I have just like in the house. So yeah. Mm. I like water. I need to drink water. Um, but yeah, I woke up pretty early this morning. I went to bed. I don't know what time I went to bed, but I did have a lot of melatonin around 9, a little after 9. Probably started falling asleep around 10:30. Uh, so I was pretty much in bed from like 9 till pretty much 7 and got up a couple times. But, I was almost in bed for you know, like 10 hours or so. So I'm definitely rested, even though I woke up a lot of times. It's like I was in bed for 10 hours. So I'm like, I am starting this week out right. Like, I don't really care, what my mind is telling me to do. Like, I'm starting this week out and at least going to attempt to get in an early morning workout. I slept past 5 because that was ridiculous. I felt ridiculous at 5 this morning. I was like, my mind was like, why are you even up? Like, you are tired, you know. Like, and I was like, but I can just have C4. I can just have C4 and push through. And then there's another part of me that was like, but you have so much crap you need to do today. If you wake up at freaking 5 o'clock, you are not gonna get things done before lunch. You're gonna fall asleep by like 10. You're gonna fall asleep at like 10 a.m. You're gonna have no energy. Um, and so I kind of had to listen to that side of myself that was like talking me through the morning, that was like, look, you see how tired you feel right now? Like, you are not ready to like try to get up and work out. And once I got up again around 7, I was like, oh yeah, like I feel normal now. Like, I feel like all I need is a little bit of a caffeine kick. Like, but yeah, like 5, I was not. Like 4 o'clock, I was like, oh, I could get up. It's 4. Like, maybe just wait till 5. And once 5 rolled around, my mind was on point and letting me know that this is too early. If I'm podcasting at 5, that's one thing, but trying to work out, like, and I'm a little like stiff. Like, I haven't worked out for a couple days, so hmm, what can you do, But yeah, it was kind of a funny kind of internal conversation. Um, but yeah, guys, I hope people can find what it is that makes them feel better. Like, somebody asked me that recently, because I was talking to them about, how like my mood can be like here, there, whatever. And they're like, well, is there anything that you noticed that when you do it, you feel better? And I was kind of like, huh, I never thought about that before. And, then I was like, oh yeah, exercising. Like, when I do get in a good workout, I do notice, I don't feel all like irritable, like easily irritable and grumpy, and so yeah, like that. I don't know if I had noticed it near that time or when they mentioned it. That's when I noticed it. I really don't remember, but yeah, I only really realized it this summer. And you'd think, right? You'd think, someone who's been around the mental health world as long as I have, you would think that that I would notice. Um, but um, no, I didn't. Uh, so let me see. I gotta write in this notebook. I've got my little. Uh, I did like I did like a weight check-in. Let's call it Friday. I don't know what day it was. I have this notebook that I keep track of. I keep track of things. Uh, so I keep track of. I just put a 7 day. How do I explain this? I draw it out. It's lined paper, and it's this notebook that I think my grandma gave me. She used to send me these like random things, and it was this like it's this 96 sheet made in China um notebook. On the front of it, it says it has a quote. It says, "Think of all the beauty still left around you, and be happy." And it's a quote by Anne Frank, and it's got all these weird like colorful flowers on it and stuff. And it's kind of like a hardcover with a spiral bound, like that double spiral bound, like that hefty kind of spiral. And I don't know what I started writing in here. Yeah, I started, let me see. I started writing it kind of as a journal, but it was kind of like a journal, like putting my weight and stuff. So I started that last summer in like near when I moved over here, like May, um, and May of 2022, and that's when my weight was probably at the highest it's been ever in my life. And I started making steps toward, getting my health on track, making health appointments and stuff. So now we're in October 2023. Like it looks different completely. Like I originally set it up as like just writing my weight out once a week on a Thursday, and then the things I did for like relaxation some days, or if I moved some of my stuff, if I cleaned, if I walked, if I exercised, if I um anything that was stressors like car breaking down and stuff like that. And then, it eventually turned into this list of when I weighed myself, just weights. So I have all these weigh-in times listed from like that started around like December of 2022. I was just weekly like putting in my weights. And then I started these projects, these 30-day challenge projects, and sometime it says like December 17th of 2022, I had this 30-day challenge that I did, this flexibility project. Uh, and, it was for like martial arts flexibility. And I put a calendar, I just drew it out of like 7 days in a row in like squares, and I just put the date. And then it's really messy, but like I would just put X's on the days that I didn't get any workout, so I could just see every row was like every row was 7 squares, and it just had like 7 days of the week. And like say I had, you know, like the first day I practiced like splits, push-ups, rows, squats, arm. I don't know what arm flexes are. Like I just made up words for stuff that I didn't know what it was. Um, and I put like how many minutes I did it, or how many reps, or how many sets. Like I don't really know. Sometimes I did like 75 reps or 29 minutes or whatever. Like it didn't make complete sense what I was trying to do, but and then I put like X's on things. So for example, I have one week where the first 3 days I have workouts listed. Then the fourth day there's an X. Fifth day there's an X, but it says I cleaned on that day. The sixth day I did 120 minutes of dancing, and then Friday, December 23rd, I did nothing. I tracked menstrual cycles on here too. Uh, so anything like dancing, concerts, yoga, times where I was like walking distances and stuff, and so I could just kind of see it. After that, I had like this dance and movement project that I did for 30 days starting January 17th. And then I didn't have a project. I was just kind of going to the gym here and there in February. And then later in February, up until March, through March, I don't think I listed hardly anything on here. And then it looks like sometime in May, is this May? When I picked it back up, May, June, July, I have a lot of days that I missed, but a lot of days that I did have a few workouts a week. August is kind of the same. I mean, I change the formatting every now and then, so it's like, sometimes it's just check marks. But yeah, the last page I have on here is, October, and it starts from the 28th of September. The page goes from the 28th or the 27th of September all the way down to November 14th. So I can just look at it and see, like, what did I do? Oh, this day has a check mark. This day has a big X. This day I was sick. Like, and I can kind of just see what I did or didn't do. And it's just easy to just look at it and see, oh, I haven't worked out this week, or see like it's been a while, And so it kind of helps, to have these like I wouldn't say that there's like a strict plan, or like a really serious, like, um it's just like tracking. I don't really go back to it too much and be like, oh, let me like alter this or do this better or improve that. It's just like, okay, I did it or didn't do it. And it's as simple as that. And so I've got like over a year worth of like exercising that I've been tracking since like May of 2022. I'm not saying that I'm necessarily getting like way better at it, but I can at least see, like, okay, on average, on a good week, I'm getting in maybe 3 or 4 workouts. And on average, I'm probably working out once or twice a week. I could use more exercise, that's for sure. It doesn't really help that I've got all these like weird supplements messing with like nausea and weight gain and my appetite and my sleep and all this other kind of stuff. So that does not help at all. But you know, uh it's good to kind of make changes where possible, and to try something. It's like, I'd rather just try something, than do nothing. But all right, guys. So that's a Mental Health Monday episode. I'm gonna get into some exercising this morning. I'm kind of stalling because I'm not really looking forward to it, but it'll be good for me. It'll be better for me than not doing it. Then I can totally get on with my morning. But all right, guys, that's it for now.